Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Not really feeling it tonight after that absolute shambolic performance. I've got Alex in the back, and hopefully John will be joining me soon as well, all ready to come on and tear apart what an absolute shocking performance that was. Well, this is full time. Even my intro didn't even get me going there, which it normally does. And it's just an absolute shocking result. I'm tweeting out the link now as we speak, but in the meantime, I'm going to bring Alex in. Good evening, Alex.
Evening, mate. How you doing?
Yeah. Question. Next question.
Oh, man.
Evening, John.
Oh, it's just painful. How are we doing, lads? You good?
No.
Good, man. How are you?
Well, watching that, it was absolutely painful. I mean, I've been supporting Newcastle over 30 years, and that is so painful to watch. I mean, come on, Howie. Horrible.
So, let's start off by saying welcome to you, Alex. Welcome to you, John. This is the new look for full time. This is how it will look every week, unless I'm at work or John's had to work or Alex can't make it. It will be the three of us. It will be shared between the three channels. So I'm the unfortunate one who has to host tonight after that shite performance. John will be doing it next game, and then Alex will do it the game after. And I was talking to you two today. I was so excited about doing this show, about how it's going to look. The new thumbnail that Alex created was unbelievable. The little video he tweeted out, I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been waiting for. This is how I want shows to be done. And then we watched that for 90 minutes. I turned it off after 60. I made detailed notes because I was going to do a match report tomorrow. And I got up to the 60th minute and I just stopped caring. It was that bad. John, you've done a live watch along. Tell me how that went. Tell me what you thought of the game. You know, rip into it.
Yeah, where do I start? I mean, it was just absolutely, for me, I mean, this is the worst Newcastle performance I've seen in my 30-odd years supporting the club. I mean, there's just no passion, there's no desire, there's no fight, no hunger. And Brighton could have scored 4 goals in that first half, but the final ball was letting them do. But the first goal, and I said to Paul about 15 minutes before they actually scored on Struck at half-time, I said, they're going to get one on Struck at half-time. And how right was I? It was a great first pass on Trossard, right? And then he allowed a turn, and then he didn't even put a tackle in. He just allowed to shoot. And then the second goal was just, wow. Danny Welbeck, he came in, caught inside, and again, just no didn't close him down. He just shot from in the box. And then the third goal, oh my God, left back. It might have been Dubbett. It's a right side. There's a poor goal to concede. And how did they allow Morpier to come in and follow that in? How did they allow to do it? But let's be real, right? I mean, we show no fight, not one shot on target. Okay, Fiesta hit the post in the second half, but other than that, the score is his gut. For me now, and I looked at the journalists on NUSC 360, I posted it out, that Steve Bruce has to go tonight. He has to go tonight. If he's not gone, then for me, we must just get relegated. As far as I'm concerned, we're relegated. The players have given up. They do not want to play for Steve Bruce, right? I wanted them out before you even wanted him in, before he came in. Yeah. That is when Rafa left the club. Do you know what I mean? And listen, I'm so passionate about Newcastle. I love the club. The Newcastle United I love, okay, is not this team. This is not my team, right? And I'll tell you something, Barry, right? Something needs to be done. It needs to be done. And I hope the media the press rip him a good one tonight. Because I tell you what, he can come out saying positive things. If he does, he makes himself an absolute idiot. If I was doing my player rate, 8 of them's going to get 0s out of 10.
Yeah, it was bad, wasn't it? I mean, you're right about the goals. I mean, we were all happy when Dummett came back in because we thought that was a solid position at left back for him. But how many times down, even the right-hand side, left-hand side, they were given far too much time on the ball. And that's what happened with 2 of the goals. For me, Clark was too weak on Tosan when he cut back inside and scored. It reminded me a bit of Ginola against Gary Neville. That's how weak it was. And when Ginola smashed it at the top corner in the 5-0 win. Then Welbeck's goal, again, far too much time on the ball. Was allowed to cut inside. No one was 5 yards near him, and he fired it in the bottom corner with a great finish. And then the third goal, like you said, Dummett out on the left. He was about 5 yards off the person who crossed it in, and then Maupay with a great volley into the corner. That summed up the game all up for the whole 90 minutes. We was just watching them just stand off. And Alex, I'm going to bring you in now because you tweeted me this picture. Yeah. And it just proves everything, doesn't it? Look at we're 2-3-0 down at this point, and where's the pressure?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's typical Newcastle, isn't it? Brighton haven't, they're really struggling to score this season, and then they just come and smash 3 worldies against us. Even the commentator said at one point, and I think I tweeted to you guys earlier on, that it's like we're playing Bayern Munich or Man City, and the commentator said you'd think we were playing Barcelona. And there's no pressing whatsoever. We went, we're three goals, and nobody even wants to go and try and get the ball. Lascelles is passing it to Dubravka at the back, and he can't even pass 4 yards to him. It goes wayward, and Dubravka's having to run for it. It's just proper embarrassing, is it? Watching it, and they can't pass to each other. They just don't they don't care, do they? And even Bruce, he's kind of starting to accept fate now, doesn't he? He's just scratching his head on the sideline, doesn't really know what he's doing, and it looks like he knows he's getting sacked soon. Surely he's got to. I mean, what the hell, man? What is it going to take to get him out of the club? It's just ridiculous. It's an absolute embarrassment at the minute supporting him, is it? Just from I would say from minute 1 or 2, it just looked like they were going to beat us. They looked like you could tell from the start we weren't up for it, and that's a massive. I mean, look at our goal difference. It's Brighton have a goal difference of what was it, -4? Minus 20 goal difference or something. Was it 20 or 21?
Something like that. I think we've got a 4 or 5 worse goal difference than Fulham now. So
5.
Losing 3-0 tonight was even more horrific. 5. So it's even more horrific losing 3-0 than it would have been 1-0. But again, we deserved absolutely nothing from that game. We've got a few comments coming in. Annie says, Hi Annie. I hope everything's going well, mate. I hope school's going well. But I don't know what Bristol City did today. Did they win? Did Bristol City win? Do anyone know?
Yeah, lost 2-0 Rotherham.
Well, at least you got beat as well, mate. So you know how we feel. Bruce out. Completely agree. Baz, think so. Can I come on the show? You don't need to ask. I've sent out the link. Anyone can come on when they want. We've got 2 guys waiting in the background ready to have this say, which is great. Looking forward to hearing people rip into Bruce. Bruce has to go. Well said, Thomas. Sam, who was horrific. Yes, it was. Sam's ready to come on and have a chat as well. Andy in Greece turned it off after Hayden got injured. I mean, it was probably your bedtime anyway, Andy, because I know you're 2 hours ahead of us. But yeah, I mean, Hayden's huge for us, isn't he?
Catch his own to Andy as well. If he's in Greece, isn't he? Go on the beach, mate. Then go on the beach, have some pink ladders. You're off doing that and watching the game, Sorry,
it's a bit late now because I think they're 2 hours ahead, so it's about midnight for them. But he's enjoying himself out there. Sam again was ready to come on. Take Ashley out of the equation. Bruce spent 100 million positions. We need to make. Yeah, I mean, again, he's had money to spend where Rafa didn't, and look at how crap we are. Bella over in Germany. Hi, Bella. How are you doing? I can't find a link. I'll come on. The link's definitely been tweeted out. Nice huggy face, Ron Bella. We all need a hug now, Bella. We really do. Hopefully we'll get sacked at least. Yeah, the group hug.
Big group.
Exactly not, the damage is already done. We're down. There's a very good chance of that, Andy, but I still got a slimmer of hope if Bruce gets sacked, we'll stay up. Bit of a rant here. Hi, lads. How embarrassing. We were dreadful. Brighton looked like Barcelona. Bruce has to go, and I'm in a wheelchair. I could do a better job than him. Oh, God. I hope, well, yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm sorry you're in a wheelchair, but I wasn't expecting that in the comment. Oh, man. Bella, I agree with you. I think we all agree with Bella. Bruce needs to go. So let's bring David in, because David was here first before Sam. Then Sam, I'll bring you in afterwards. Good evening, David.
Good evening, lads. You all right? Well, as all right as you can be after watching that rubbish.
It was, wasn't it? What's your take on the 90 minutes?
There's just no fight, no desire, no nothing. There's no, like, as you know, I'm a big boxing fan, and we were on the ropes before we even kicked off.
It looked that way, didn't it?
For me, he just... Sean Longstaff, he bought on far too late as well, when the damage was already done. The Hayden injury looks horrific. It looks like he's broken his leg, at least, I think.
I thought it was knee ligament damage.
It's just because the way the stretcher come on, and it made us think that it was a really bad injury, because, you know, the Brighton lad, he looked at Hayden and turned away and had his hands in his head like that. So that makes me think that was quite a serious injury.
It's definitely a serious injury. I don't think he's broke his leg, though, because it was pretty straight, unless it was a slight break. But the way that he landed on him wasn't nice. It's a horrific way to get injured, because it wasn't even a tackle. It was just, he just fell on him, didn't he? And it looked like his leg gave way under him. I think it could be knee ligament damage, which is the end of his season.
Twisted his knee, has he?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably his season gone.
He's gone.
And you still there, David?
Yeah, I'm still here.
There we go. The picture's better now. So yeah, anything else you want to add to the performance? I mean, obviously the lack of performance. I mean, where do we go from here?
We've got a 2-week international break now, so we've got to get rid of Steve Bruce. It's not good enough. But these people like Jeff Stelling and other pundits, that idiot Paul Merson, coming out saying Newcastle fans have to be realistic. We're near the bottom 3. This is a ground of 52,000 ground. You know what I mean? He's got to be. He shouldn't be saying stuff like that as well. And now the pundits need to be honest to what they think about Steve Bruce's tactics. It's just not good enough. You know, we don't want a team that wins the Champions League. We want a team that tries. And sadly, 9 of them did not try the night.
They didn't even show up.
No.
For me, Dubravka's supposed to be this vocal presence in goal. He's not a vocal presence for me. He was quiet as well.
The heads just dropped, did they?
Well,
as soon as the first goal goes in there, they just stop trying. They just like disappear. They don't even run for the ball anymore. Stop passing it around the back. It's just.
Alex, can I come in a second? You just said there, once the first goal went in, they just don't care. It happened 24 times. I mean, you look at the stats, did you? Right, 24 times, right? They haven't won 0 games. They drew 6 of them and lost 18. Every time they go behind, they never come back and win the game. And I'll tell you something, he's breaking records. This guy's breaking records all over the shop. I'll tell you something now, right? I mean, if he ain't sat tonight or tomorrow and he's in charge for the Spurs game, I'll be signed to relegation, mate. I'm telling you. And another thing is as well, right? He didn't even play a striker tonight. Andy Carroll, Dwight Gale, was on the bench, right? And I'll tell you something now, right? According to Lee Ryder, I just looked. Both Carroll and Gale stormed out the tunnel. They both stormed down the tunnel in frustration.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing Miggy there, unfit. He's not fully fit. And Miggy knackered for most of that game as well, didn't he? He was playing wayward passes as well. I mean, I think he played one goal in for Fraser when he hit the bar, didn't he? But other than that, he wasn't obviously fit, so you can't really blame him for not playing very well. But he's not a striker, is he? If you're number 10 with no one in front of him, he's not going to be able to make any he's not going to be able to create for himself, is he? So
Yeah.
we're just missing. I mean, Hayden being injured now as well, it makes things 10 times worse. Like all of our best players are getting injured every week, and we just look like the odds are just against us completely. Are they? They're just it's just destiny now, isn't it? We're going down and knowing our luck, I honestly feel Mike Ashley hates us fans, so he's just doing this to wind us up. And I feel like Bruce has got other teams in his pocket where they're paying him a little bit of money on the side for his kebabs or whatever he's eating after the game, and he's letting them score. He's giving them confidence back. If the team's not scored in months and months, he'll go, all right, slap 3 against us then, and. You know what I mean? Or players that are on barren spells, like Mope tonight. He's not scored in ages, has he? And he scores one against us.
Yeah.
No team in the Premier League, honestly, can be that bad. Like we just, I don't want to swear. I don't want to swear, but you know what I mean? We're shocking.
Yeah. This is
totally understand what you mean. Paul's gone nuts in the chat there. I've just put loads of them up, and basically finished it off with saying that you should move to Australia. I don't blame him.
If Steve Bruce was paid to be a motivator, everyone would have committed suicide by now. He's that bad. You know what I mean? Like he's fell out with most of the team. I'm surprised he's not had an argument with the under-23s as well.
Guys, I'll just come in a second, right? Just off tack.
Of course you can.
Joe Linton stats talk here. This is real talk, Reach. And this is the people that you're not allowed to have a go at Joe Linton, right?
Not Joe Linton.
Not me. But this is the stat. This is what I'm going to say. He's played 90 minutes, okay? He's lost 15 times lost possession, yeah? 1 touch in the opposition box, yeah? 0 shots on goal, 0 shots created. That's the player that's finishes playing in there. I heard he cry, yeah? This is the people say give him a chance when people cry, yeah? This player, I'll give him a chance, but I'm afraid this player now, I'm done with Jordan. I'm done.
Sorry, I'm laughing at that comment.
I'm done with it.
Yeah, Steve Bruce needs 52,000 Cleveland Steamers, apparently. It's probably what he deserves right now.
Was it?
David, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us on. And just hope we can turn this around, and we need a new manager as soon as possible. Hopefully, Jose Mourinho sees Newcastle and thinks he come here because he wants a challenge, but we'll see.
He likes to have money, though, doesn't he? He likes to have money, that man, and he's not going to get it under Ashley. But thanks for coming on, David, as always. Cheers again on the next show.
Take care, lads.
So yeah, man.
You're saying that, but Steve Bruce has had a lot of money. I mean, I'm sure
he's had 100 million, but I mean, with the COVID situation, I really can't see Mike Ashley pumping in any more money again. This is the problem we have. So we've obviously touched on this already. I'll bring the picture up. You know, what a miss is this man going to be for us for the run into the end of the season now, because it really doesn't look good. It's either a broken leg or a knee ligament damage. You know, John, how much of a miss is he going to be?
He's going to be, for me, it's going to be a huge miss, because I think Isaac Hayden, I mean, in parts, has been fantastic first this season. But what I've noticed for the last couple of games, he doesn't look fit. He does not look fit at all. And I'm not going to lie, because he hasn't been playing to the level he's had for the last few games, which is a shame. But to lose him with a broken leg, it is such a huge blow. And I wish him a speedy recovery. If it's a broken leg, I wish him a speedy recovery. And I just hope that he gets better soon. But like I said, Isaac Hayden, for me, if I did a season review on him, I'll probably give him a borderline 7.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a big fan of Hayden. I think he's the only one player I would start every week, to be honest with you, him and Dubravka. Alex, what's your thoughts on Hayden?
Oh, he's one of my. I mean, he's one of the most consistent players by a mile, isn't he? He's kind of like the gel that holds us together in the middle of the park, really, isn't he? Like Shelby like I was saying last week, actually, Shelby's passes when they go astray, he's always the one that cleans up after him. He's just a great ball-winning midfielder, that sits in front of the defence. The fact he's so versatile as well, he can literally play, right back, centre back, probably in goal as well. But he's just great everywhere he plays. He always is, and he would make a great captain as well, I think. And in fact, we've lost him now. I'm actually really scared about who he's going to play there. If we've got Hendrick, I mean, it can't be a coincidence that as soon as Hayden came off, they just sliced us apart with absolute ease twice. You know what I mean? Straight away. So I'm dreading to. I mean, would you rather Wilson be out or Hayden be out? I think I'd rather Wilson be out, just because even if Wilson starts scoring, we're going to get battered now. I feel like with Hayden missing.
Well, I mean, I would bring Longstaff in, Sean, myself. Hendrick, again, showed tonight when he came on how much of a pile of Cleveland steamers. Sam's been waiting patiently in the background, so let's bring him in. It's good to finally see your face, Sam. How are you doing?
Okay, how are you all doing?
Hi, Sam.
Brilliant. So,
Sam, how are you doing, kidder?
I'm good, thank you.
yeah. So what did you make of the 90 minutes or lack of 90 minutes or whatever you want to call that shower of shite we've just watched?
Well, the whole match was shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like watching. You wouldn't believe that they were 1 point above us in the league, would you? Watching that, I just want to touch on your point about Hayden, because I love Hayden, but I think the last few games he's been shifted out of position to accommodate Shelby. So Shelby's been dropped into that deep line role. My worry with Hayden is with a new manager I always see Hayden as like the Makaleli type. As soon as he goes past that midfield halfway line, he's pretty useless, but he breaks up the play fantastically well. But he seems over the last couple of games to have dropped Shelby into defensive midfield and put Hayden more out onto the left. And he just seems to be a bit of a fish out of water. But obviously it's a horrific injury, and a decent manager would obviously use him in the right way. We should know we shouldn't be anywhere near where we are at the moment, should we? It's hard to explain in Newcastle, and it's a horrific job being a Newcastle fan, isn't it? Because it feels like a job at times. We've got. I put in the comments earlier. Like, I think at the end of last season, we all were crying out for a striker. We was all crying out for a new left back. So we went out and brought Lewis, who was being touted with Liverpool before he come to us. He went out and brought Wilson, who, let's be honest, would probably fit into most clubs outside the top six quite easily.
Yeah.
So he's got good players here, and he's made us worse. Which,
I
don't know. It's shocking. If you got me on it straight after kickoff, I'd probably been swearing every other word, because it was horrific to watch, and it's quite painful as a Newcastle fan to watch it, isn't it? Like, the desire's gone, the effort's gone. You've got players like Carroll, who, don't get me wrong, Carroll's not an amazing player, but he'd run through a rule for the club, wouldn't he? You've got Longstaff brothers who would run through rules for the club. You've got Dummett who would do the same. And we just seem to be playing. As soon as Hayden got injured, which looks horrific, as soon as you saw Hendrick pulling his shirt off and bib off and stuff, you're just like, I think every Newcastle fan put their head in their hands, didn't they? And it just feels like every decision he makes wrong, he makes wrong. Like, you've got Sean Matty Longstaff isn't even getting in the squad. Like, something's obviously gone on there. Something's definitely gone on behind the scenes. Because I personally really like Matty. I know he's not everyone's player. Like, some people like him. Same as Sean Longstaff. Shelby, I think, is the most overrated player in the team. If he doesn't pick out a pass, then he's useless. He doesn't move. And that, again, I think Shelby's one of these players that people either love him or they hate him. I'm unfortunately in the hating camp. I say hate, it's a strong word, but I wouldn't have him anywhere in my team. Rafa didn't have him in his team for a reason. Bring up that dreaded name, because that divides opinion as well, doesn't it? But I think with a lot of these players, you've got good players there. Like, Lascelles is a decent player. Clark's a decent player. Manquillo, decent player. You go through the team. Fraser was playing really well for Bournemouth and seems to have gone completely awful for us. But I think they've got to get rid of him. I think John was right earlier. They've got to get rid of him in the next 24 to 48 hours. You've got an international break coming up. Even if it's Graham Jones, just get a bit of fight back. If we go down, let's at least fight going down. Let's at least, like Fulham lost 2-1 on Friday night, but at least they fought and they had a go and they really went for it. And I think as a fan, that's all we want.
The thing is, though, Sam, I mean, I wanted Steve Bruce out before he even wanted in, right?
Yes.
Steve, for me, when Steve Bruce was linked with Newcastle and Rafa Wild, right, I said, please don't get him. Do not get this guy. Do not get him. Because if you get him, we are going to get relegated within 2 seasons, right?
Yep.
He should have got at the end of the season, right? He got us, 13th, right? I said, okay, cool. Now walk away because the second season is going to get tested, right? All I'm saying, he spent £110 million, right, on players, right? Yeah. And he doesn't know his best formation, doesn't know his tactic, right? Or formation. He doesn't do tactics. Remember this, right? The players do not want to play for Steve Bruce. And I've been saying this, and you guys have been saying this for months and months and months. Mm-hmm. Mike Ashley, right, I've made so many mistakes, right? You know, he would have learned from 2009, 2016, and now in 2021, he hasn't learned a lesson. We had 6 relegation battles there. We stayed up 3 times. We're not going to escape this. If Steve Bruce is manager for the Tottenham game, we are screwed because Harry Kane will be licking his chops when he faces us, right, under Bruce, yeah? And this manager, even the press, Lee Ryder, Mark Douglas, Craig Hope, Simon Bird are all saying the same thing. This manager, not my manager, this manager's got to go now. If he's not gone by Monday or tomorrow, right, we are relegated. And if we get relegated, we're not getting back up again.
No.
We're not.
I mean, Paul's gone on a big rant in the comments there, and he's basically listed a whole list of players that will leave. He's gone Richie, Fraser, Maxi, Wilson, Shelby, Darlow, Lascelles, Midgie. All will leave if we go down. That's our team gone.
They look like they all look like they want to leave now.
Yeah. Well, apparently they all stormed off down the tunnel at full time. And I think Bruce is done now. I think he had. I mean, like John said, we've been saying it for months. He has to be sacked.
How amazing would it feel to wake up tomorrow morning with the news cycle? It says he's gone. How amazing would that feel? It'd be, oh my God, it'd be like Christmas morning, wouldn't it?
Guys, I'll come a second quickly, right? This is what Steve Bruce have to say, right? I mean, just a little paragraph. He goes, we were beaten by a better team. We have to accept it. It was too easy for Brighton. I take full responsibility. We didn't do enough. We've got to dust ourselves down. 9 games to go. We've been doing well of late, not including tonight. I never give up.
Oh. Is he reading these off a penguin wrapper or what? What the hell is wrong with him?
It beggars belief, doesn't it? I mean, I've just read that myself, John, on Twitter. I'm trying to keep an eye on Twitter at the same time, just in case, for some strange reason, breaking news comes out and that he's been sacked, because it has to happen.
I was going to do a post reaction tomorrow, but that is going to be lit. I'm driving to Newcastle tomorrow.
I was going to do a match report tomorrow as well. That's what I used to enjoy doing, was going through the whole game and analysing it and tearing it to pieces. But like I said, I lost interest after 60 minutes, so I'm not going to do it. There's nothing to analyse. It was done from the first minute. It was shocking. No commitment, no desire, no idea, no tactics. Just absolutely shocking. Sam, are we going to stay up?
Depends on the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
My heart's telling me yes. My head's telling me no.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much most of us at the moment.
I want us to. I really want us to. But I think if you change his manager, you get a manager in that can manage Wilson, Fraser, St. Maxim and Almiron better and get them for when they're fit playing together well. I think we've got a blooming good chance, because we're still, let's be honest, we're still outside the relegation, so we've still got a game in hand. But we just need, I think the problem is as well, you talk about the players losing hope. and fight and stuff like that. I think the fans are getting there, and that's what we a little bit. And I know it's not as important at the moment because obviously we're not in the stadium to cheer the club on and stuff. But we need that little spark, don't we, to get behind the club? And you imagine, like Alex said, you imagine we wake up tomorrow morning with Bruce has been sacked. The whole club changes direction. A bit like when was it McLaren went, and we had that spark for the last sort of 8-9 games, didn't we? 8, 9 games, 10 games. It was a monumental.
Won 6 games, didn't he, Rafa? So he had that manager bounce, didn't he?
Which even if we get that over the next, I think we've missed the opportunity. We had 3 winnable games. I don't get what this run he keeps talking about. We're on that we're doing well in. We've drawn like 2 games and lost the rest. So I don't understand what he's going on about there. You've got no striker on the pitch because let's be honest, we've got no. Joey Linton's not a striker, like John was talking about earlier. I think my 4-year-old could trap a ball better than what Joey Linton could.
Yeah,
it's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Gale must be ready to kill him because you've got a striker. Get Gale in the 6-yard box, he's probably better than it, and he can't get anywhere near the team.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
No, you got Hendrick who can't. Who I don't know what he's got pictures of Bruce or something because he can get on, and you've got the long start, and it doesn't make sense. We went 2-0 down today, and it took him 10 minutes to make a sub. Like, surely you go 2-0 down and you change it. Like they've conceded how many set pieces? Bring Andy Carroll on, who's our best header of the ball. Like it's none of it makes sense really. But I hope we stay up. I was more confident a couple of weeks ago that we would. I'm a lot less confident now.
Do you know what it is, right? I mean, for me, are we going to stay up this season? If you ask us the question, no, we won't. If this manager's still at the club, we're getting relegated. And let me tell you that for now, because I said it many a time, and I'll show you guys agree with us. They're not playing for Steve Bruce. They just got no direction. There's no leadership under this guy. And I see him, Paul comes on me chat all the time and say, guys, you won't be sacked. Well, I'll tell you something. Something needs to happen now because if something ain't happened within the next 48 hours, right, we are getting relegated and we never get back out of the league again. He's got to do something now. We've got an international break coming up now, right? 2 weeks before the Spurs game. Then Spurs are not playing well at all in a minute. And you just don't know. Under the new manager, we can get some out of the game, you know. But we need 2 or 3 more wins, and we'll be absolutely fine.
We need 3 wins, I think, 9 points.
For a fact, we're going to see an article talked by Lee Ryder saying that Ashley's going to stick with him for a bit longer, right? And it's just going to be so deflating to everybody. Like, every time you think he might get sacked or we've had a horrible performance over and over again, you always see an article the next day saying, "Oh, Mike Ashley's going to give him more time. He's not going to let him go yet." Oh, and what's he going to take? It's got to be now, surely.
They're not going to sack him yet, Alex. They're not going to sack him.
They need to, But I just don't think they're going to do it.
Do you know what it is, right? For me, Mike Ashley hasn't got a clue. He is not a footballing man. All he cares about is Sports Direct. That's all he cares about, right? Yeah. And let me tell you something now, right? I mean, he is kicking our club into the gutter. He doesn't care. But do you know what it is? What will it take to get rid of this manager? What will it take to stop us and get relegated? And what will it take to get our great club back to where it belongs? Right? Get rid of the manager. We need a new ownership, right? And for me, I'm not an angry person, but today I watched that game and I'm just so enraged of that. Now, I don't want to sound like Claude. Like, he used to be on AFT. I don't want to sound like him. But at the end of the day, right, it's logic. He ain't good enough. He can't let it go. Actually, he's got to start listening to us now. He's got to listen. If he doesn't listen now, when is he ever going to listen? He's an arrogant, two-faced owner. He's a gambler. He's a chancer, And if you get relegated, I'm not going to have any complaints. I'll be traumatized, but I'm not going to have any complaints. I'm not going to complain.
I think there's
it wouldn't surprise me if we go down the way we're playing.
I think there's 2 issues. Like, one, we're not in the bottom 3. and he'll look at the league and he'll see a real game because he doesn't know football, does he?
Well, this is it. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, the frustrating thing for me with Mike Ashley, and don't get me wrong, I hate Mike Ashley, and I think what he's done to the club's disgusting.
Clueless.
With Rafa, we had a world-class manager in place. You could take any manager who we could have had in place. Mike Ashley's always brought young players with big value potential for a sell-on. That's what he's always done. This year, he went out and did completely different. He brought Wilson, who probably hasn't got much potential sell-on. He's brought Hendrick, who probably brought Hendrick. He God knows what he did with Hendrick.
Free, wasn't he?
Yeah, again, not big potential sell-on. He went against what he usually does, and he's done it for one of the shittest managers we've ever bloody had. Like, why couldn't he do it with a decent manager? Like, it's just so frustrating to look at it and go, if we had a decent manager who knew what to do with these players, don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying we'd be challenging for Europe or anything, but we'd be comfortable, be safe.
What he's probably thinking is that the higher wages that he's giving the manager, he's like when he had Rafa, he probably thought he didn't have to spend on players because he thought you're going to get better out of these players than where Steve Bruce is probably not really giving him any wages, is he? Not compared to the rest of the people in the Premier League. So he has to give him more money to spend because otherwise he's not going to get anything out of the we had. So that's probably his thoughts on that.
Right. Got a few more people lined up. Thank you very much for coming on, Sam. I'm looking forward to our Know Your Fans episode next week, I believe, if I can remember rightly. I'm lost to where I am at the moment with the way things are. But I'm looking forward to having you back on again. And thanks for coming on and having your views, mate.
See you, mate.
Good night. Let's bring David in, who's waited in the background. Go on, David. Have your say, pal. What did you think of those 90 minutes?
Absolutely shambolic. There's no word for it. That's absolutely no word for that performance tonight.
So where do we go from here?
Championship, League One. Then probably down.
It's going to be that bad, yeah? Championship straight down to League One. So two back-to-back relegations.
Yep.
That just shows how confident the fan base are at the moment when people come on and say things like that. Have you got any positives at all?
No, not from that performance tonight. He has to go.
He has to go. He does, yeah. Completely has to go.
There's not one person who can say that. Oh, keep Steve Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, Paul makes a good point here. He says all the players need to look at themselves. I mean, I don't know if that is a good point or a bad point because the way the players stormed off at the final whistle felt like they'd had shackles around their ankles because of Steve Bruce. And these players played under Rafa and they knew how to play football. They had a system. They had an idea. They had an identity. They knew what they were doing. And since Bruce has come in, we've seen none of that. In nearly 2 years he's been at the club now.
It's actually hurting to see the club fall the way they are. We're a dying club. We're a dying club.
Yeah, it's just words lose me at the moment with the way things are, David, and it's like Paul says, a total disgrace. He says it's the worst.
This is not good with my mental health. Definitely not. Watching Newcastle United.
I would say
I think we all feel the same.
Uh-huh. You spend your whole week working or whatever you're doing through the week, not being able to go out and stuff. And the one thing that you have to look forward to is the football at the weekend. And then that just, they treat you like this. It's so deflating and it just, steals what joy you have at the minute in life away from you, doesn't it? And it's just I'm fed up of it. Me, like I'm sure everybody is the same as well. Like
I'm more angry tonight than what I am happy. Well, the actual performance.
Well, I don't think anyone's happy, David. I don't think anyone can be happy watching that because I mean I'm going to bring this up, and if it comes up because my internet's been really slow, and I need to get rid of Sky. The internet's shite. The coverage is shite. The pundits are shite. And there we go. It's starting to come up now. So there we go. One attempt. That was the first half performance. 25% of possession. I didn't even want to look at it at full time because I got that, but I just that probably didn't even improve, did it? Total passes 161 to Brighton's 364. That's the kind of statistics we have when we play against the likes of Man City or Liverpool. We're playing Brighton, who were 4 point ahead of us, and we let them play football like they were in the top 6. I don't get it.
Like Paul said, I was watching John's watch along with, and like Paul said, there's not one player from that field tonight who put a performance in of heart, desire, sweat, guts. You know, they're playing with a black and white shirt on, and they're not even worth the black and white shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Shelby.
No, I completely agree.
Shelby, for one, he's out with depth. He shouldn't even be nowhere near this team. Jeff Hendrick, why fetch him on when you've got Sean Longstaff on the bench? But you fetch bloody Jeff Hendrick on.
Yeah, that was beggar's belief. I mean, Jeff Hendrick for me, I think his best position, if he has a best position, I actually do think it's in the Hayden role. I think he's best as a defensive midfielder because he'll put himself about. He doesn't have quality going forward, so he can't be a winger or attacking midfielder. I think that would be his best position, but he's shite. So yeah, there's players on the bench like Sean Longstaff who should have been on a lot sooner, probably should have started, but we all know about the falling out, don't we? We all know that it looks like, I think Matty Longstaff could be the mole, or his dad could be, and I think this is why he's not getting a look in. But yeah, come on, David, last question, are we staying up or are we going down?
Going down.
100% nailed on? No hope? Yeah. Not even if we sack Bruce now, there's not a slim chance we'll stay up?
If we sack Bruce now, and the new manager bounce could help us, but until then, I think we're down. But I don't say we're going to sack him. You know,
this is the worry, isn't it?
Lee Charnley's not bothered. In fact, where is Lee Charnley? I've never seen him for months.
What does he even do?
Yeah. It's been furloughed, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was just going to say. What does he even do, man? Flipping hell!
And you've got your owner in the Middle East. So, what can he do?
Thing is, though, if I come in that he's in the Middle East, it doesn't matter where he is. Someone's got to be contacting him. Someone must contact him now and say, "Look, this ain't working. You got to get rid of him. You might be in the Middle East, but get him set now. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? This is his football club, man. I mean, if I had an order of Newcastle, right, and my team hasn't been doing well, I tell my people to get rid of him and get something decent.
I completely agree.
And the fact of the matter is, right, he's got no excuses now, yeah? You've got to be here to witness the shite we have to put up with week in, week out. 2 wins in 20 games. Something has to happen now. Any other club, he would have been sacked. Honestly, 2 wins in 20. If it's in Europe, he'd be gone. If he went in it, he was in Italy, right? Like Milan, Roma, Juve, right? They turn into bolognese sauce. Do you know what I mean? He'd be gone quicker than bringing in for Christie, man. He'd be turning the bolognese sauce. You know what I mean? They would have given him a big game and he goes.
Like I said on John's watch along, he stopped in Bristol tonight to do the watch along. He should have went to Newcastle tonight. You know, he wouldn't have missed a lot.
Nah.
I love it. Well, thanks for coming on, David, as always. I've got another Paul in the background waiting to come on next. Like you said, we're down. Great. It's not looking good, is it, pal? But yeah, I'll see you next week, no doubt. I'm sure you'll be back on again. Thanks for coming on, pal.
Sure,
see you, man. So we're going to bring Pete in, but just before I do, John, when you're having your little rant there, I saw Pete having a right good giggle. His face was a picture. Good evening, Paul. I don't know why.
The bolognese sauce.
Listen, I don't want to sound like Lee Gunner.
Yeah. So before we get started with Peter, apparently Steve Bruce has said it's for other people to answer. So Steve Bruce on his future, it's for other people to answer. The one thing I said is I wouldn't walk away. So he's not going to walk away, guys. That means it's going to have to be a sacking. Pete, is it going to happen or is it not?
I said I'm still half and half on it. It could happen, but would it surprise me if it didn't? Not really. The thing is, Barry, I think I've just given my most, out of all the videos I've done on my channel, I think I've just given the most angriest rant I've ever done. Because that was embarrassing from start to finish. We're going to the game, no striker on the pitch.
Yeah.
We looked all over the place, clueless, lost. Hayden goes off injured. You've got a chance to bring either Sean Longstaff or to bring a striker on, Gale or Carroll, one of the two. He brings on Jeff Hendrick, who absolutely offers sorrow.
Yeah.
2 wins in 20 now for Bruce. He's now making John Carver and Steve McLaren look world class now.
He's actually right, though. He is actually right. I mean, at least Carver kept you up. I can't wait to watch your video, mate. I haven't had a chance to watch.
I don't think he had a record of 2 wins in 20.
No, you didn't. No, you're absolutely right. I'm going to look forward to watching your video tomorrow because I haven't obviously had to jump straight on and do this show. So I will look forward to watching that. Oh my God, what's that you're drinking out of tonight?
Oh, I'm being a posh bugger on the red tonight.
You need something stronger than that after watching that 90 minutes. I mean, again, I'm going to have a look at the actual final statistics of the game now because it's probably even more laughable than the first 45 minutes, to be fair. Yeah. 3 shots, 1 on target, 34% of possession. I mean, we came out in the second half, and when we hit the post, I thought, all right, maybe there's a bit of desire there. But that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was it.
And I actually said this as well. I wouldn't have minded if Brighton did go and score more, to be honest.
Yeah.
We deserve nothing. And if they did, because if that does get Steve Bruce out of this football club, I'll actually be thanking Brighton for that as well. I really would be.
But we made them look like Man City, though, didn't we? Looking at those stats. The way they passed the ball, we held off them 5 yards from our own box. We defended the box line, but they just played around it completely. No one was going out to pressure in the ball, not even from the top of the field, which we, as any Newcastle fan will say, if you give 110% commitment, we'll let you off if we get beat. And there was just none of that. I saw 40% commitment, and I say I showed a picture that Alex tweeted me. Which probably wasn't even that, was it? I mean,
generous that.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, that picture that Alex sent me. I mean, Brighton were just playing the ball around the back, and no one was going up to challenge them. No one was doing anything. I mean, I've texted a few people and that, and I was just saying I lost interest. I'm uninspired. I'm demotivated. This isn't my football club anymore. I don't even know what I'm watching. I mean, how do you? I mean, Pete, where do we go from?
We're
Silence
going down
says it all, doesn't it?
At this rate. Now's the time to get the trigger pulled now, and just get someone who's going to get motivation out of these players. Just bring a bit of confidence, because Steve Bruce is not doing that. He really, really isn't.
There we go. There's someone's ratings. 2's, 3's, and Hayden got a 7. I mean, Hayden probably would have ended up with a 5 if he stayed on, because I don't think they were having that. I mean, he was doing all right, but there was just nothing at all. That is probably the worst performance of the season, and the reason why I say that is because we've come off the back of 3 draws. We were looking to push after a great result from Leeds, beating Fulham, and then we serve up that dross. John, where do we go from here? What do we do?
mate, and that's done in a minute. I mean, if this guy is still manager, I tell you something, we'll be relegated, and I've said that all the way along. But going back to the ratings, right? I think 6 would be a 0 out of 10. To be honest with you, I'm not going to give him a rating. Only 2 or 3 probably get a rating. The rest will get 0s, mate. And back to where we've got to go from here. First of all, I want to see Bruce sacked, immediately sacked. Yeah, go and get someone in. He knows what they're flipping doing, right, to keep us up, right. And the reason he will not walk away, he said that so many times he will not walk away because he's waiting for his $4 million payoff. That's the only reason, right? Wrong or right?
Yeah, I bring this picture up on my last show, and I thought I'd bring it up again because I think it sums the man up perfectly, doesn't it? I only want what's best for the club. Over the last few months in particular, I haven't been good enough to get the results that this club demands. Well, if he knows it, why doesn't Ashley know it? Yeah, but why isn't Ashley just sacking him and pulling the trigger? You can see he's not good enough. His body language tells us he's not good enough. Would Jones and him arguing again, do you think? Or not arguing, but giving out separate tactics out on the touchline? Do you know when Hayden went down injured? I tried to get a picture of it, but I missed it. But they were both giving out tactics at the same time. Were they singing off the same hymn sheet? Were they actually giving out the same advice? Were 2 people going against each other there?
I don't know. The whole thing's just a mess.
It's scary to think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll come in a minute. Sorry. I mean, Steve Bruce, I'll make it quick on this. Sorry. Steve Bruce, right, has lost the dressing room, right? Everyone in the room knows that, right? We lost the dressing room, right? Matt Ritchie, busted ASM, Lascelles, the Longstaffs, Reese. Yeah, he has lost everything. The media as well. And yet, this owner won't do a flipping thing. Lee Charnley won't do a thing. Why? What's holding them back? Why are they scared? Are they gutless or cowards to sack him? Are they allowing this club to be sinking down, going to mess again? That's just horrible, It's a horrible atmosphere at the minute. And like I said, Gail and Carol stormed down the tunnel. Tells you everything that you know about the club. We're done.
How does Carroll not get a game after these 30 seconds, which helped us get a point? I mean, I don't agree with starting with Carroll, but I agree with giving him 30 minutes to try and make a difference. I'm not his biggest fan because I don't think he's got the legs anymore, but he certainly got 45 minutes in him, or a bit less. I don't get it. Alex, you were going to say something? Voice your opinions.
I was going to say, do you think Bruce has got Ashley and Charnley tied up somewhere, and that's why he's so confident in what he says in his conferences and stuff, because he knows he can't get sacked. But going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's just like the equivalent of somebody setting fire to one of his Sports Direct stores, isn't it? I'm sure it'd soon be running to the store then wouldn't he, trying to say it? He doesn't care, does he, at all? We're just at the back of his mind. God, no, I completely forget that Charnley even exists. Is he just a figment of our imagination or something? Is he not meant to be the guy who sort of he knows the football side of things and he's sort of there for Ashley to take care of the football side of things? But what does he do? Did he not say that he's going to try and communicate with fans more as well, and he's never spoken to us since?
That is very true. What he actually does, he's the lowest paid football director in the Premier League, I believe. I think he's actually paid the same level as League 2 or League 1 almost. That's what I've heard. And does he know what he's doing? I don't think he does. He's the one who actually found Bruce and said we should pay, was it 6.5 million in the end? To get him from Sheffield Wednesday, 6.5 million or something. He's the one who went to Ashley and said, "This is our guy." And then we find out he was like the 13th or 14th choice. And we're stuck with him, aren't we? It just makes me sick. And I have heard there's been loads of rumours going around Twitter. I don't know how much you pay attention to them, but that apparently he can't be sacked unless we're in the bottom 3.
It should be sacked out. What's he waiting for? Why do you have to be in the bottom 3 to get the sack? What is the point?
Apparently, that's his clause in his contract.
Well, whoever put the clause in the contract is a disgrace. Then that should never happen.
Exactly.
Do you
What happens
understand?
if we go in the bottom three second last game of the season? We're second. We can't get a new manager in time, can we?
Exactly. What a mess the club is. What an absolute mess. Do you know what? Let's be honest. Let's lose against Spurs. Let Fulham win the next game. We go in the bottom three, second.
Yeah, but if the clause is there, and that's what takes, I can't see us getting anything against Spurs anyway. I know a couple of weeks ago we were all a bit bullish. You know, we've got a couple of draws. We're looking a bit solid. Spurs are a bit of a dodgy team. We always seem to beat them at St James's, but I can't see us getting anything against Spurs at all. Not even with the players back, to be honest with you.
No, not at all.
Paul, the info is just basically Twitter. It could be a load of bollocks. It might not be, but I've seen it also on Facebook as well, on fan forum pages and stuff like that. So, you know, don't take my word for it that I'm just spouting it out there that, you know, that is potentially what his contract could be. And we have heard silly things like this before, haven't we? You know, Podger got an 8-year contract. How the hell does the manager get an 8-year contract?
He had one blinder of the season. Does it? It looks to me
blinder of a season, then you get an 8-year contract. It's like,
it looks to me like the players or Bruce is trying really hard to get into that bottom three though. So somebody obviously wants him sacked in the club. Bloody hell!
Yeah. Come on, Pete. Are we staying up or going down?
One day this will all be over and we'll all be happy again.
If we get a new manager, I think we'll stay up. If we persist with Bruce, I think it could be Championship now.
Yeah,
I think relegation could be a cert.
I agree. Alex, I also agree with you as well. One day we'll get our club back, but what state it's going to be in when we get it back is going to be what the difference is to a lot of fans. I mean, it could be far too late. You know, if we go down, are the Saudis going to still want to buy her? If they don't, we could end up with another shit owner.
I think that takeover's dead in the water now. I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Have they not gone in for an Italian team? Was it not in? Was it
Inter Milan was the rumours, wasn't it? But I don't know how true that is either. It'll cost them a lot more money to buy Inter Milan, but at least they'll be buying a ready-made Champions League title challenging club, unlike buying Newcastle, who needs a whole new training facilities, needs the stadium revamped a bit because it's looking like it's falling on its legs, and then he probably needs to pump in about 400 million just to get into the top 10 the way things are looking. And then you've also got to fork out for a new manager and pay Bruce off 4 million as well. So
it would be a good project though. Like it'd be a much better project to try and build us and build the area, build the stadium and stuff like that, which people with that kind of money probably will take more interest in. Whereas Inter Milan are massive, are they? And it probably cost a lot more than us as well, I bet, to buy.
That's what I'm saying though. It costs 550 million, I think, or something like that. They were quoted, but it's nothing to them. It's pennies. You know what I mean?
But
like you said, yes.
Would they not want to? Would they not prefer to invest a bit more and like to have a project there to sink their teeth into? Do you reckon?
I mean, but again, think about the whole bigger picture of how much money they would have to spend to get us anywhere near to the level of Inter Milan. You know, I mean, they might want to buy Inter Milan and also buy Newcastle because I think they can do that. But they might have to have a smaller stake in one of the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, if I had that kind of money and Inter Milan's on the table to buy, I'd buy Inter Milan because if I was a businessman and not a Newcastle fan, it's a
cracking stadium. I've been into Milan, been to San Siro loads of times. I love Italian football. I've got a passion for Italian football. And I'll tell you something, right? I'll go there and is an iconic stadium, right? I wouldn't change it, but it needs doing up a little bit because it's crumbling a little bit. But at the end of the day, when you go in, it's quite steep. The atmosphere in that stadium, I'll tell you something. If you go to Del Italia between Inter and Juve, that's a cracking game. The atmosphere is bouncing. 80,000 packed in that game. The Milan derby packed. You know, atmosphere is electric. And if you put the money into Milan, or even in Milan, I'll tell you something, you get good dividends at the club as well. You get fans coming in, you get your money back. It's fantastic. If you go in and get that club right, you can become a hero.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you become a hero if you buy Newcastle and do it right as well. And, Mike Ashley's had his time. It's been 14 years. We've had 2 relegations, looking like our 3rd relegation. You thought he would have learnt his lessons. But again, I mean, we can all look back through his tender at the club, and then we can look at when Pardew had us into Europe, bought 1 player that summer, didn't we? We bought Vernon Anita, and it wasn't good enough. And then the wheels started coming off again. And we all know now Mike Ashley does not care. He's not going to invest. He's never going to invest. He wants to get rid of the club. He says the right things on Sky Sports, saying how the fans deserve a better owner because he knows he's shite and he doesn't care. But I don't know where we go from here. I really don't, because unless we sack Bruce, we're going to go down. If we do go down, how are we even going to find a new owner who's going to be interested in buying the debt off Mike Ashley and then improving the whole facilities? It's going to cost someone an absolute fortune. And to me, it's the Saudis are the only people who are rich enough to do it. Maybe someone in America, maybe who owns a baseball team or basketball team. They are billionaires as well, aren't they? I mean, that's what we need. And we're club in the northeast. Remember, everyone wants to buy a club in London or close to London because of the dizzy lights of it. Even though it's only 3 hours on the train to London from Newcastle these days as well. So I don't get it.
Even if it's not a new owner that has so much money, even if they don't have that, if they have sort of equivalent money to Mike Ashley, but they care about the club and they want to get into the club and speak to the fans and put a little bit into the area and stuff, it's going to be a lot better than what we've got now. So even if it's not people with that much money, it's going to be a lot better. We just need him gone, and it does me nothing with him sort of bringing stuff up about court cases or the takeover. Whenever something's happening internal, like with Steve Bruce and Richie and stuff, it seems to surface again because he's saying something about it to try and avert our attention away from the stuff that's really going on. He's just full of, he's just liar, isn't he?
Yes.
Well, this is why, I mean, Pete probably thinks it's dead in the water, but the only time the takeover really comes up to the surface again is when things are going absolutely shite, and it kind of diverts all the bad attention off. I'm just so I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just, it's happened. It's going to happen. We're going to go down. I'm starting to the realization is starting to set in now after watching that performance tonight. But I mean, Pete, do you starting to feel the same now? I mean, on the 4 Horsemen, when we started getting a few results, we thought, brilliant. We're starting to get a bit enthusiastic again. But do you think the realization of shite? Yeah.
Yeah.
How much does it make you feel having, like, compared to after the game when we were absolutely raging, kicking off, and then just having to have a good chat with a couple of people about it that are feeling the same as you? It makes you feel lots better after it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, normally I'd come on here and have a good laugh and feel a lot happier going off it. I mean, I've smiled a little bit, but the realization keeps on coming back now. It's that result is hammered, is literally hammered me, and yeah, I get what you're trying to say there, Anne. I really do. Anne's a family friend, a good friend, known her for a long time. We haven't beaten Sunderland in 6 games, so getting excited about a derby right now it doesn't really excite me at all. I guess that's probably about the derby. Dave, personally, I think it's dead in the water. So obviously, Paul agrees with you, Pete, about the takeover as well. Bruce needs to go. Yes, he does. And well, I mean, we've got 10 games left, haven't we? And we've got 1 game in hand over Fulham. I think we need 9 points if we're going to stay up.
Yeah.
And I think those 9 points realistically, even though it probably seems unrealistic now, would be Burnley away, Sheffield United home, and Fulham away. They're the only 3 games I can see us winning.
You watch us beat Spurs when we're all feeling down because we've been playing rubbish. We always seem to turn it on, and Wilson's meant to be back then, isn't he? And ASM, is he not, after the international break?
But are they going to be match fit though? This is what we've got to remember. Is like, look at Almiron tonight. He's come back, probably 80% fit, threw him in, didn't have any impact on the game. So it depends on when they come back from the international break, how fit they are, to whether they're going to make the difference and have the input that we need against Spurs. Because if Spurs play Son, Bale, Harry Kane, all them lot, are we going to stop them? Even Lamela is far too good for us.
Son's out. He's got a hamstring injury, so I don't think he'll be playing.
Right. Well, that's 1 out of 6 that could hurt us.
Bale seems to be on fire as well now, doesn't he?
He does. Bale is back, and I don't know why it took so long to get him into the team. To be honest with you, that's probably Mourinho for you. Again, Paul, we still support the team. We're just feeling dejected, mate. And I said to the lads before we came on, I didn't really want to do the show, to be honest with you. You were probably the same doing your rant on your video. You probably just thought, why am I bothering?
Yeah.
This is how it is. I thought my mate Andy was going to come on. He says he wanted to. Was it too late? But I don't know if he's struggling to get on. Would have been nice to speak to him because he's in Greece and finding out what the weather's like, because that's probably more interesting than the football.
Although the weather's been pretty nice up around here for the last few days, has it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in York and we had a lovely day today in the back garden, playing on the trampoline and playing with the bubbles and stuff like that. It's more interesting than football. I probably saw better formations with the bubbles floating around in the sky than I did on a tactics sheet that Steve Bruce has got.
He doesn't have a tactics sheet. He thinks tactics are the little mints that freshen your breath, does he?
Tic Tacs. I love it. Let's wrap it up because it looks like Andy's going to come on, and I don't know about you guys, but I think I need to go to bed and just forget what we actually watched. Pete, last final thoughts from yourself. I mean, if Bruce does get sacked, who comes in?
I wouldn't mind Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Chris Wilder as well. I think they definitely get some motivation on this side.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd take either one of them two.
2 managers that are available. Is there anybody else on the radar you would like to see?
Probably is. I don't think I could see him coming. I mean, there's Lampard available, but he's not going to come yet, is he?
Well, you never know. Just at the end of the if he was asked to the end of the season, would you not maybe consider it? Puts it on his CV that he saves us and makes him look a bit more approachable for another job.
See what happens, but
yeah.
Mind it, it was only a couple of seasons ago. He was at Derby. He just took the big step because he was a legend there. He's not really at Chelsea's level, is he? So I could see him coming. I mean, not realistically, he'd never work under Ashley, but I mean, he would be suited to us, I think.
He was a passionate player, wasn't he? I mean, every time he came to St James's Park, he always had a cracking game as well, which used to drive me nuts. But I mean, Howard Wilder, no chance according to Paul. But Paul, if it's just to the end of the season, I can see one of them two stepping in just to keep their mind going, to keep it in football. I mean, Howard says he was taking a whole year out, wasn't he, before he was going to jump to his next job. But if Bruce gets sacked, there's no bigger club for him to be able to walk into and maybe make a stamp. And then if there is a takeover, the people who take over might think Howard's the right man to do the job. So I think he'd be stupid not to turn it down. Wilder, he might not want to manage again, to be honest with you, after managing his boyhood club. He might just want to call it a day. But again, if he's asked till the end of the season, he might step in. You never know. What about you, John? Who would you like to realistically see take over?
Max Allegri, but that's never going to happen.
No, unfortunately, with November, I don't think he'd come.
Might as well get Klopp in. He's finished at Liverpool.
Realistically, man, I mean, it'd be nice to see Max Allegri or Diego Simeone, but that ain't going to happen for me. I want to see Eddie Howland, but I just can't see it happening because he does want to leave South. Frank Lampard, like PD has just said, you kind of see it happening. Then that's 2 down. Chris Wilder, you just said there, you might not want to come back too soon. I think we're absolutely screwed at the minute. But it's all about getting the right manager in. Can we prize the manager for the championship away, sort of thing? Can we prize someone like Ismail from Barnsley? Could you prize someone from Thomas Frank from Brentford? Or
he was a name I like, Thomas Franks.
Yeah, I think he's a cracking manager, him. I think maybe he's taken Brentford as far as he could, because at the minute, Brentford's up and down this season. But Dano Farker, maybe some Norwich, I think he must want to try pastures new. He might want to fancy a big club, sort of thing, in Norwich City. Do you know what I mean? But there's managers out there. I love to see younger managers come in, but I can't see actually appointing a young manager, because he doesn't do young managers. He likes the dinosaur type of managers, like the Pulises and the Hughes sort of thing. But for me, personally, oh God, who's out there? Like, just getting harder and harder by the flipping minute, man. But for me, my choice would be Eddie Howe. But when he come, that's another question.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
Well, it might be a bit controversial, really, to say it, and it's probably less likely to happen than most of them. But Rafa, it was not discussions not long ago that it was Mike Ashley was trying to get him back. And
I did hear that on Twitter, but I don't think that was ever true. To be honest with you, I don't think Rafa will ever work under Mike Ashley again. He blew it.
I agree, but I mean, he's out of a job. He's got a lot of passion for the club as well. Obviously not Mike Ashley, but everybody would love him back. But also, if that's not a possibility, then Steven Gerrard, I know
that won't happen.
He can only really go so far with a Scottish team. I live in Scotland, so he's a hero up here. But I would take him 100%. That would be amazing. But yeah, not you can't really think of many that would ever come to work under Ashley, can you? And obviously, like after Rafa, he's going to spoken to a lot of these managers and sort of told him what life would be like if they did come here. So I just can't see. Maybe that's why Bruce is still here, because it's going to be a nightmare trying to get anyone else. But what about Jones? Would you take Jones as a manager?
I'd take Graham Jones to step up until the end of the season, definitely.
I think the players would want to play for more than bloody Bruce.
Exactly. And just a word on Steven Gerrard. You're all right. There's not much you can do with the Scottish club after you've won the league. But Steven Gerrard wants, what's the word? He wants to get experience in the Champions League, doesn't he? So Rangers have now won the league. They're now going to play in the Champions League next season. So I think he'll stay one more season. And depending on what's happening at Liverpool, I think he'll end up there after Rangers. I don't think he'll go anywhere else. I think it's Rangers, gain the experience, then he'll be thrown into the Liverpool job. Yeah, that's how I see it. And all these pundits saying that Mike Ashley should do everything he can to bring Gerrard to Newcastle. Why would you when you're playing Champions League football next season? Why would you want to come and play, manage a club that's just wanting to fight relegation and stay up by the skin of its teeth every season like we have been doing for the last 2 years? So, yeah, I mean, realistically, it's got to be Eddie Howe, hasn't it? He's available. He said the right things, saying that if you've got a budget, you work with it, you work with the players you've got, you improve them. I think he's the only one who would realistically take the job at the moment. So that would be my choice. Or Jones stepping up. If he doesn't want to sack Bruce, just do the right thing. Put Bruce in a stupid role above the manager who has nothing to do with the team, running of the club, an ambassador, whatever you want to do, just to keep him paying his contract. Get Jones in to survive, hopefully, and then sack Bruce when it's more affordable. Don't wait until the last minute. He already hasn't he? It's just yeah. I could scream. I could honestly scream.
It's hard to put into words, is it? Just the frustration.
It is, because I mean, we can all see it. We're all fans of our football club. We've been here supporting this club longer than Mike Ashley ever has, or even knew where Newcastle was, because he's that kind of person who probably just thinks London is London and that's England. He probably thinks we're in Scotland until he actually bought one and came up and realised we weren't. It's just do you remember reading the papers when he first bought the club? I'm going to buy Ronaldinho. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And then he was drinking with the fans in away games down in Pint, apparently non-alcoholic. He was going to Baja Beach Club and all those kind of bars and getting hammered with the fans and buying rounds of drinks for everyone in the nightclubs and stuff like that. That lasted, a whole season? And then you realised how much it costs to run a football club, and realisation that if you want to run it as a business, you've got to have everything as a tight ship, and you can't afford to go out and buy big players. And then he's obviously made an absolute massive error buying Joe Linton for 40 million, and that's ruined him. And this COVID situation has made it even worse for him because his shops are falling on the knees. He hasn't got a good system in place for them online orders and stuff like that. I've heard so many complaints about them. He's literally I think he's on his arse a little bit, thinking I need to get rid of this football club because they're bringing both sides of it down. He needs that investment to go back into his shops to get him back up to the level he wants to be at. And we're now a hindrance to his profitability for these shops. So there you go.
Here's a
That's
question
my
for you.
thoughts.
How much do you realistically think the club's actually worth? Because there's no chance in hell it's worth 350 million.
With the training facilities and everything that needs to be done and the rebuilding with 14 players out of contract, I think the club's probably worth about 150 to 200 million.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. What about you
John?
guys?
Sorry, I lost a question there, lads. Sorry.
All right. How much do you realistically think the club's worth right now?
At the minute, he'd not get 340 million to get relegated. Realistically, I mean, he'd probably get 300 for the Premier League, right? But if he get relegated, he's gonna lose at least 100 million out of that. So you're talking about 180 million, maybe.
Even now in the Premier League, when you look at our status where we are, you look at the training facilities, look at the squad and how many players are out of contract at the end of the season, how much do you realistically believe the club is worth?
Okay. I mean, realistically, you have to take into consideration as well, we haven't won trophies since 1969, right? We haven't won the major trophies, yeah? We've been in the Championship twice in the Premier League since it existed, right? So I think Ashley's being greedy, and he's putting a market on which is impossible to get the money. So, I mean, realistically, if he's lucky, if he gets £270 million, he'd be lucky.
Yeah.
270 that is it. And if he thinks he's going to get £340 million now, he's living in fancy cookerland, because at the end of the day, he's trying to be greedy. He is very, very greedy, this owner. Mum is 84 years old, right? And there's one word she hates, it's greed. This owner is greedy, right? And he's trying to take as much money as possible out of the club, yeah? But he will not get 340 million. I mean, it's how it is. If he gets the money, good luck to him. But if we get relegated, we're never, ever going to see that money ever again. So,
no.
But what I will say as well, we end up doing the Sunderland as well. It'd be breaking records of our club. We could be going to League One for the first time in our history. Could you imagine that? It's doable.
I can, unfortunately. What about you?
That far
Pete?
to drop from where we are, really, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
But you see what I mean? You see where I'm coming from, really, can you? In a way.
Oh yeah, of course I can. I totally agree with you. The one, I mean, the word greed being the only word your mum doesn't like was a bit of a shock, because there's a few other words I can think of.
Mike Ashley, there's two words.
Yeah. One beginning with C as well.
Steve Bruce, another two words.
Come on, Pete. How much is the club worth, mate?
In that club, something needs to happen, and otherwise we'll be sinking.
Yeah, I think the way it is now, the way things are going, I think you could be saying about 100 million at this rate.
Struggling.
Well, can you imagine if we do get to League One? I mean, look at what Sunderland's gone for. You'd be looking at 80 to 100 million, even though the size of the club, the fans won't want to watch League One football. I know the die-hard will still go, but people like myself, maybe John, people who got season tickets who are from outside of the area because of work and stuff like that are going to think, why do I want to waste my weekend getting on a train and going up to watch that kind of football, I'll just stream it live because there'll be options to do that, you know.
Absolutely.
When you're in the Premier League and when you're watching decent players, it makes you want to go up, doesn't it? Hey,
Having
Paul's
said that,
arrived with his capitals.
having said
Is Paul
having said
coming
that,
on?
though,
I don't know, Paul, do you want to pop on for 5-10 minutes? I know you've just done your video and apparently you went off on one. I'll look forward to watching that one as well. I've got quite a few videos to watch. I don't know if he wants to come on or not.
This video's tomorrow when I drive up to Newcastle. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, are you taking a banner with you? Is it going to be Bruce out? I love Joe Linton.
Oh, man. No. Guys, no. No, he's done. Joe Linton's done. Honestly, I mean, I'll give you those stats earlier on. No, lost the possession of the ball 15 times, yeah. One complete passes, yeah. No shots on targets. Unbelievable.
There was only one shot on target for us, one in the whole game. I can't even remember it. I think I might have gone to the toilet at that point or something.
Fraser smashed it into the keeper's arms, but he also hit the ball as well. That doesn't count as on target.
No, it doesn't. No, 3 shots off target, 1 shot on target. That they were the stats by the end of the game, and 37% of possession. It's just shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. Right. Let's make it that the end of the show. I normally I'll do an ending, but guys, it was that fucking bad. There's no point in doing an ending. Everyone knows it. There's no hope in all 4 of our eyes. As the relegation is looking nailed on. If Bruce is still the manager after the international break, if he is, might as well turn off, mightn't we? It's absolutely diabolical. I'm looking forward to seeing Pete and John on Monday night for the Four Horsemen. I know it's not my show, but it's a show I really enjoy doing. So please, everyone, if you're not following it, follow it, watch it. It's a great laugh. I know John's going to get hammered for 2 hours, as he always does.
I should be coming on Monday, so I'll be at Newcastle. And
you're going to be missing on Monday, are you?
I'll try to come on Monday, but if I can't make it, guys, I'll let you know about it.
Awesome.
We've got to see that son as
Paul
well.
Paul will find a replacement for you. Don't worry. I'm sure he's got someone lined up already. Now he's probably watching. He's probably thinking, John penciled out. This one penciled in.
Next on the list.
No.
Exactly. Next week, John, you'll be hosting this show instead of me. Because, like I say, this is now our little routine of doing it. Because me and John both had the same idea of doing this sort of show, doing a talk-in and getting people on to have their views. So instead of doing 2 separate shows, we thought bring it all one together and share the love, even though there's no love tonight. But Alex, it's been great having you on again, and I'm glad you're part of the team as well. You should message Paul and see if you would get yourself on Four Horsemen. I know you've been watching it for years. You're a big fan of Pete as well. So I saw your little love tweet to him saying how you've been watching him for years. Little love tweet. Pete,
No shame.
You need to get a
me.
selfie with Alex now.
Yeah, I've already got one. I've got this recording. Screen recording.
Oh, well, there you are then. Brilliant. I love it.
On the wall. Claim to fame.
I absolutely love it. It's been a pleasure as always, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Forget about the football. Let's just crack on and have a great night on Monday when I see you.
Yep.
See you in a bit.
Guys,
See you in a bit.
All the best.
Ah.